You're listening to The Pump Fake.
And welcome into the Week 2 preview edition of the Pump Fake. Everybody, Jarrett Bailey here with you as always, joined once again by my good friend and quote-unquote kindred spirit, Matt Verderame. One of your longtime Patreon listeners tweeted at me today, and he called us that. I had to Google what it meant, but I thought that was fun. What do you think of that?
Yeah, all right. I mean, I've been called a lot worse, so that's fine.
Yeah. I don't know. I think, being friends for as long as I think you and I see football through a similar lens. So I think that's a fair assessment of us.
I would agree with that.
Go and subscribe to Matt's Patreon, everybody. There you go. Shameless plug.
That's right. Boom. That's right. The Matt Verderame show. Let's do it.
I love it. So, yes, as we did last week, we're going to go through every game on the Week 2 slate, break it down as only Matt and I do. We'll start with last night, though, because you were in Green Bay to cover Packers Commanders, Green Bay winning 27-18. I never felt that close, though. Where Green Bay dominated in all facets of the game, especially up front. Micah Parsons per PFF, 8 pressures, 5 hurries, and a sack for Micah Parsons in that game. That somehow felt low. Like every play that he was on the field, it felt like he was making some sort of an impact.
I was up in the press box and I was charting every snap that they played on defense because I was trying to figure out how good they were with and without him and how big of a difference there was. And it turns out they actually were very close to. In fact, they're actually better statistically when he wasn't on the field, which is nuts. I had 9 pressures for him.
Crazy.
Like he was unbelievable. And the funny thing was, I was watching. Like he lined up over every single player on the offensive line except for the center. Both guards, both tackles, destroyed everybody. They triple teamed him on one play. They double teamed him all the time. They were chipping him with backs. They were chipping him with tight end. Just killed him. Just absolutely ate him up. Drew 3 penalties. Like, just annihilated everything they wanted.
He was one-on-one one play with Josh Connerly. I was like, all right, good luck. Like, what are we?
Yeah, just utterly. Yeah, I was playing a sack on. He just killed. I mean, Washington had 0 answers all night for what they did up front. And, like, part of it, too, let's be real, is, when you're to some guys just in my backyard, I'm like, who the fuck is it? Some guy doing my lawn. In any event. So, I was impressed by the fact that they were able to just overwhelm them with simulated pressures, actual blitzes, shifting at the line of scrimmage, post-snap safety rotations. Like, I asked LaFleur about it after the game. And he's like, yeah, it starts with their safeties. Like, we're disguising it so well that they don't know what they're looking at. And then by the time they figure it out, like, the pass rush is on them and it's basically over. And, it really, Hafley's done a great job with that defense. That defense under Joe Barry was the most predictable defense in the world. Yeah. They just sit there and they were passive as hell and they just get gassed. And I would say, look, Parsons has obviously had an immense impact. A lot of those guys have been there for 2, 3, 4 years. And the big difference is coaching. Yeah. It's coaching. Like when you can coach like that, you change the game. I mean, Hafley on Thursday night ate Cliff Kingsbury for lunch. Just ate him up, killed him. And one thing with the Washington's offense, they don't have a ton of motion in it. Kingsbury's not a big motion guy. He doesn't like to play that way. And when you're not giving that defense something to look at and they can just look at you pre-snap, see the picture and be all right, cool, here it comes. Like, I think the team that could give them trouble is a team like the Rams, who's going to throw a million different looks at them, eye candy. Stafford's an experienced quarterback. When healthy, a good offensive line, like because we were talking pre-show, if you can't block that team, you're dead. And I think that's the kind of team. Maybe a team like Philly who can run the ball and slow it down somewhat. I mean, because if you're going to these games, just look, I know you got hurt and I feel bad for him. Like if your answer to that team is running Austin Eckler, and just going 4 wide and just doing nothing special with it, you're done.
Yeah, he was playing like he was still coaching Texas Tech. Let's just go and we'll go spread and figure it out.
I mean, you're not going to win against a defense like that. Just basically tell them pre-snap, like this is what we're going to do. That offense. Look, there's a reason. To be fair to Kingsbury, obviously they had a lot of success last year, there's a reason he was fired in Arizona.
Yeah.
And part of the problem was that offense got to a point where it was just stale. Teams would just play them and look at what how they lined up. Like, all right, we know what they're doing. This formation, these guys in this spot. It becomes very hard to win like that against a good team. And you saw in that game, the Packers were just like, great, we're going to tee off. We're not scared of you running the football. The Commanders couldn't run the ball all that night. And then that insult to injury, Washington leaves with Dietrich Wise out for the year, quad injury. Eckler is going to be out for the year with the Achilles. It's a tough night, man. It was really tough. The only downer for the Packers was Reed breaking his collarbone.
Yeah, and he'll be gone for probably 2 months, roughly.
Yeah.
Luckily there with them, I mean, the story of the Packers, all right, they got a billion receivers. So you'd assume someone like Matthew Golden, who they just drafted, Savion Williams, who they just drafted, will step up in that role. But yeah, not a small loss, excuse me. He led the team in receptions and yards last year. So we'll see how they replace that. This might be an overreaction, but is there any concern with Jaden Daniels looking back at a few of those plays where, it could just be Green Bay's pass rush just had him a little bit antsy, but there was one in particular where he had, I believe it was Terry McLaurin, who found a hole in the zone over the middle of the field, sat in it, was open. He just kind of kicked it to the flat where he could have moved the sticks on that play. Like stuff like that, could be something to pay attention
play
to.
Here, play there, man. But I got to be honest, I was up in the press box for that game. He had nowhere to go with the ball.
Right.
I mean, he really, and on top of that, not only was he struggling to get guys open, he had no time. Yeah. I mean, they were just on him so fast in that game. I can't walk away from that and put it on Daniels. I thought it was a lack of scheme. I thought their lack of just ability showed up. Like, look, I am a guy who believes Washington is a legitimately good team. I don't think they're just going to fall off the face of the earth. But I will say this. My reasoning for that feeling is I think Quinn is a very good defensive coach. I think Daniels is a legitimate top-tier quarterback. And the problem that I do have with them is I felt like Adam Peters, or GM, this offseason, they didn't add enough talent.
Yeah.
Like Tunsil's a good left tackle. That's fine. Deebo Samuel doesn't count. I'm sorry.
I would agree there.
Like you didn't add any kind of dynamic running back threat to the team, right? I mean, I know they all love Bill, and that's great. They gave Bill the ball like 4 times that game. Yeah. Okay. Like they didn't add if you shut down McLaurin, there's just nowhere to go with that football. Like it's Zach Ertz kind of sorta, and then nobody else. And let's be real, against a good team, you're not scared of Zach Ertz having 50 yards. Who cares? And you're not losing because of that. So that's the concern I have with Washington is if you get a team that can take McLaurin somewhat out of the game like Green Bay did, the rest of it's just kind of on Daniels. Like I don't know. And now without Eckler, he's the blocking back. He's the pass catching back. Like you don't have a guy. I know everybody's like, oh, well, Bill can step in. Yeah, but he's not a pass blocker. Like he's not. That's a big loss for them. It really is.
They're a team that I would circle as maybe a dark horse to throw in as like, hey, maybe they should go trade for Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, I mean, they'd be an interesting team. I think. Look, I think that I think Washington. The only thing I would push back on with Hill is like they're already the oldest team in football.
Mm-hmm.
Which, by the way, was abundantly evident against the Packers, who are the youngest team in football. Like, I literally led my column in SI yesterday, not to be self-serving here, but my lead was like Tucker Kraft just running away from Bobby Wagner.
Yeah, but like seeing that play, I was like, why
20 yards behind him, man?
Why?
Like, it was insane.
Yeah, my initial thought was like, why is Bobby Wagner just like jogging? And then watching back, like, oh, he might not just be jogging. He's probably just that slow at this point.
He was like pointing at a safety that didn't exist.
Yeah.
Like I was watching that. I remember watching it the first quarter and thinking like they got a problem. They can't run. They can't move. And it showed up in that game.
Yeah. All right. So let's move on to the week 2 slate. Again, we'll go through every game remaining on the schedule. And we'll start with, I believe it's the biggest spread this week. The Browns, 11.5-point dogs in Baltimore. AFC North matchup. Obviously, the Ravens coming off that 15-point, giving up the 15-point comeback to the Bills. They're having their home opener. I talked about it with you a little bit yesterday, but they are having celebrating their 30th anniversary as a team against the Browns, who, anybody old enough to know is
right.
The Ravens used to be the Browns, and that's how they became the Ravens. So that feels like just a giant middle finger to the Browns that I think Might not mean anything to, some 25-year-old cornerback who doesn't know anything about that.
Right.
But 11.5 feels hefty.
I mean, in some places, in most places, I believe it was 12.5.
Well, that's crazy. These odds are all per FanDuel by the way.
Yeah. Well, even if you want to go, you don't have a sponsorship with them, right? I don't want to screw you up here.
Go ahead.
Okay, DraftKings also has it 11.5. And it was 12.
There you go.
So, look, I got to be honest, it's hefty, but Cleveland's awful, man. Like, the case for Cleveland covering that is that defensively they make some plays and they hold Baltimore to like 24 points.
Mm-hmm.
And then Cleveland like backdoor covers this thing and loses like 24-13. I got to be honest. I normally am with you like huge number. I think I would pick Baltimore to just beat them like 37. Really? Yeah. Oh my God, man. Like,
I don't know. Like last year, the game in Baltimore was like the Week 18 game. Bailey Zappi started. It meant absolutely nothing. The game in Cleveland, however, the Browns win. And a lot of miscues happen on Baltimore's end and whatnot. I think it'll be closer than 11.5. I would still probably say the Ravens will win. My heart would love if the Browns won, obviously for rooting purposes. It'd be great. I think Baltimore will win. I still think 11.5 is a pretty big number. Baltimore is going to be playing pissed off after everything that happened on Sunday, but I do think that Cleveland defensively is talented enough to at least keep it a game. And maybe Flacco has just like one of those Flacco games where he's streaky. He throws for 280 and 2 touchdowns or whatever it may be. And Cleveland can at least keep it competitive. I would be surprised if it's just a complete blowout on Baltimore's end.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, listen, that would be interesting. I think Baltimore is going to smoke them. I mean, I watched the Browns really beat the hell out of Cincinnati, and it just didn't matter because they can't kick. They can't catch. Dropping everything in its mother. You're like, oh my God, man. Somebody catch a pass on this team. Like, I also feel like, too, it's just one of those games. You're the Ravens. Like, if you don't come out with some vim and vigor in this thing after what you did at the end of that game in week 1, I'll go a step further. I will be very concerned about that team if they come out in this game and they're fighting for their lives with 5 minutes left. Like, this should be a game. It's a home opener. It's probably the worst team in the AFC. Maybe it's Tennessee. Maybe it's Miami. But, like, I would imagine they would come out, I should say. I would imagine they'd come out and play well, really well.
Oh, they started off 0-2 last year. They lost to Gardner Minshew and the Raiders week 2 after losing to your Chiefs in week 1. So they lose to Buffalo week 1. Maybe a little bit of history repeats itself, and they lose to, what we all perceive to be a bad team in Cleveland. Let's move on. Speaking of can't catch, the Titans hosting the Rams. They are 5.5-point dogs here. And I think that has to do with the fact that the Rams just couldn't seem to put any points on the board last week against Houston. But this is a Titans defense that's not nearly as good as the Texans. I think the Rams will win this. I will say this, though. I think if anybody can learn to catch for the Titans, Cam Ward can at least keep it somewhat close. So I might take them to cover just because it's a cross-country trip for the Rams. Weird things can happen. I think the Rams win, but if Cam Ward gets even the slightest bit of help from his receivers, it could be a little bit interesting.
I think the Rams will beat them by a couple of scores. Look, I don't think Tennessee's going to score 10 points in this game.
Fair.
I mean, he might get sacked 10 times.
Poor guy.
And that's an indictment of Tennessee. I mean, Tennessee gave up the most sacks in week 1. And this is a team that just signed Kevin Zeitler that spent a record-setting amount of money at the time on Lloyd Cushenberry at center.
Not to mention Dan Moore Jr. as well at left tackle, who was abysmal.
Insane amount of money for Dan Moore. And then, oh, by the way, also drafted J.C. Latham in the top 10 and Peter Skoronski in the top 10. Like, that is an unbelievable amount of assets to be terrible. Yeah. I think that's a game. I think Verse and Fisk and Turner and Young just eat them up. I think that is the entire game.
That's, I think, a fair and easy way of looking at things because, the way that the Titans' offensive line played against Denver, great defensive line in their own right. I think the Rams overall are better. And, and Cam Ward said all the right things this week, too, where he's like, I got to be a little bit better. I got to, not run into some of these, which, good for him. That's a good head on his shoulders. I think he's going to go a long way in this league. But my God, man, like, if it's not any, like, remotely better, I don't know. It's not going to be good for them. Ben Johnson's. Go ahead.
No, Latham's out for this game too, so that's not helping either.
It's not. So I think we're both on the Rams pretty confidently.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would be. I would. I'm surprised the line's on 5.5. I know it's in Tennessee. I get it.
Yeah.
But like I thought that line would be 7.5, something like that. I think 5.5 is kind of a gift.
All right. Ben Johnson's return to Detroit. The Lions are 6.5-point favorites there. That feels kind of big for the Lions, who just played a really bad game against Green Bay.
It was 4.5. Just keeps going up there. He's betting Detroit.
Yeah.
Look, that game is kind of I'm of two minds of. On one hand, Detroit's interior offensive line was not good, and I feel like the Bears can exploit that. On the other hand, boy, they better because I did not like what I saw out of Caleb Williams in week 1.
I don't think anybody did.
He was rough in that game.
Did we see Tyson Bagent start some games at some point this year?
No, I don't think so. But I'll tell you what I find really interesting, and I found it really interesting the day it happened. When they signed him to an extension, that is an odd thing to not only sign him to an extension, but to hold a press conference.
Hold a presser for the backup. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you don't see Mason Rudolph getting pressed. You know what I mean? Like that. I was like, really? Like, and I can tell you, based outside of Chicago out here, like there are a lot of Bears fans who want him to start, who think he's better than Caleb.
I've talked about it on here before. A guy who, Tyson Bagent, I first saw at Shepherd because he ripped my alma mater Slippery Rock a new a-hole in the college football playoffs. So yeah, big Tyson Bagent guy over here.
I think that there's going to be a lot of pressure if Williams doesn't play better, and that's a concern. He's just, I mean, you watch the game against Minnesota, but he's 10 of 10. It's like, yeah, great. He's thrown 9 checkdowns. That's great. Like, and then he fell apart completely. Look, I think the Lions win that game. I don't know if I touched the number or not. I'd probably pick Chicago to cover it, but I think Detroit's going to win. Detroit's just better. Detroit's more talented. They're at home. Like, the only way I think Detroit loses that game is if Goff is just awful. And
if Goff turns into a pumpkin, then that's.
If we find out that Goff really just genuinely cannot play without Sean McVay or Ben Johnson, and you're like, wow, without these guys, he's terrible, then yeah, okay. But if Goff is even just like 20 or 30 for 215 and a touchdown, I got to deal with it.
I agree. Let's go to Buffalo and New York. The big news there, Ed Oliver going to miss this game, potentially the game against Miami as well. He's got an ankle injury. Somebody apparently it was like a friendly fire injury in practice. Somebody stepped on his foot and he's dealing with an ankle. So, hey, TJ Sanders, Deion Walker, you better be good because the Jets are going to look to exploit that and try to run it down their throats all game. Based off what they did against Pittsburgh. And they had success doing it against Pittsburgh, who I would make a pretty easy argument is the better defense than Buffalo. So if the Jets found success doing that against the Steelers, I think they can find success running against Buffalo. It just comes down to, can they finish these drives with scores? And can their own defense limit Josh Allen, which I would say confidently no. I'm still going to pick the Bills to win this game. They're 6.5-point favorites. But I think New York, if they can run the ball successfully, will keep it interesting through at least the first half, 2.5 quarters.
I think Bills will win. And the only way that doesn't happen is if it's one of these like weird Bills games that you get like once a year where they seem to just like they forget how to play football. And they try to get really cute. And look, that's to be fair, most good teams have a game or two like that in the season. Yeah. But I think the only question I have is without Oliver out, can the Jets just run all over them? And now look, they're not Baltimore, okay? They don't have Derrick Henry. I don't expect it. But is it a game where the Jets rush for 6 yards a carry and it's just 30 carries for $180? They have the ball for 37 minutes. That kind of a, and you're like, wow, it's 20-17 in the fourth quarter because the Bills have the ball for 15 minutes. But I think the Bills will win by at least a touchdown. So I'll take them to win and cover. They're obviously the better team. I think they'll handle business.
I would agree. I'll take them to win and cover as well. And then they have a short week. They turn around and they host Miami on Thursday night. So that might be a public massacre on the front of the Dolphins. Giants, Cowboys. Cowboys are favored by 4.5. I think Cowboys cover this pretty easily. I'm surprised it's only 4.5, the number. I really like the way that Dallas played against Philadelphia. Obviously, Jalen Carter wasn't there, and that's kind of a big omission and whatnot. But defensively, I thought they did okay without Micah Parsons. Obviously, there's a few plays in that game where you say, all right, if they had Micah Parsons, they probably win. But offensively, Dak had one of his better games. The box score won't show it, but 3 CD Lamb drops didn't really help his cause. I think we see a little bit of a bounce back from Lamb. I think Pickens gets a little bit more involved, and I think Dallas wins this pretty easily, I would say. 4.5 feels low.
So I have a little pick 'em league that I do, and I got the Giants, and they were 6-point dogs. I'll actually, I'm going to take the Giants cover their game.
Oh, okay.
Win because Russell Wilson's awful.
Yeah, that's another big thing too. Is Russ is done,
and not only is he awful, but he's so like uninspiring.
Yeah.
Like Jameis Winston is terrible, but Jameis Winston, at least, like if you're a player in the team, like I don't know, maybe like the guy's like going for it. He's trying.
He'll launch some shit downfield and say, "We'll see."
He's trying to. There's nothing less inspiring than 3rd and 9, and your quarterback dumps it in the flat for 3 yards.
That's so bad.
And then walks off the field like dangerous. It's like, oh my god, like just throw the fucking ball 12 yards. Like, try, do something. But he won't do that. He won't throw it in the middle of the field. Everything's a moon ball or it's a check down. It's like, but I think the Giants, the reason I pick them to cover is I think the Giants defensively will keep them in the game. And like if the Giants can score like 14 points, I think can cover it. So I'll take the Giants to cover, but Dallas to win.
Yeah, I just think that the Giants' offense is just so lackluster, where Dallas doesn't have to be the 85 Bears to limit them. Like Washington's defense, like Dan Quinn's a good defensive coach, as you pointed out, but like when I look at their personnel, I don't like get scared of the personnel that they have, and they held the Giants without a touchdown. I think Dallas can limit the Giants to less than 14, 10-ish points, and I think their offense will do enough to make this like a 20-10 win, something in that category. But we'll see. I think that's. And if I had to pick like one of my favorite bets to do, I think Cowboys -4.5 would be one for me.
Okay.
This game's gonna be so bad. We got Mac Jones against Spencer Rattler, 49ers Saints. No, we do not.
I think the Niners will win. I think they'll cover. I think they'll win by 7 points. This game's awful.
It's not gonna be good. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. I think that's about it. We don't.
It's honestly, it's not even worthwhile. It's gonna be the Niners already have like 19 guys out. So
yeah, Kittle's gone, Purdy's gone.
Ready to go for the season.
Yeah,
and the Saints, there are going to be documentaries done about that quarterback battle. So that would be. I mean, look, there's nothing else to say. If the Niners lose that game, it's an embarrassment, even with Mac Jones.
I said coming into the year that the Saints were going to be a like bottom 10 team in the history of DVOA. I'm going to stick by that.
They stink, man.
They're bad.
The team's awful.
Patriots, Dolphins in Miami. The Dolphins are favored in this game, by the way. I didn't know if you knew that.
I did, which I found interesting.
Yeah. I think it was 1.5. It has since gone to 2.5 in favor of Miami, which is weird to me. Yeah. I think a lot of that has to do with A, they're at home, B, Tua, I don't think has ever lost to New England, and I think that's playing a part into this, but I simply don't care. I think New England's going to be frothing at the mouth. I think they're the better team. They're the better coached team with the better quarterback, with the better defense. All of this is pointing to New England getting the win. And in a matter of maybe like 8 days talking about how the Dolphins have an interim head coach.
I don't know if we're going to get it that early, but I think it's coming. Look, I'm picking New England outright to win this game. I know, like, we get a lot of this, like, this is the classic, like, the team with off in week 1, then week 2, they play better, and everybody's like, oh, you're holding a team, you're holding a players only meeting. Week fucking 1, like, bro, it's over. By the way, what that also says to me is, like, they don't believe in the coach.
No, absolutely not.
I mean, you're having a players only meeting a week into the season. And also, too, this hasn't just been this week. Like, this has been all summer. How, like, everybody's who's been
the vibes are horrible.
Like, oh, my God, this is a disaster. I really think Tyreek Hill's got about 4 games left in him in South Florida. And I think Tua has about 16 games left in him. Because they can trade him after this year and save basically all the money.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know people go, who would trade for him? Looked at some of these teams in the NFL? I mean, somebody might trade for him. Otherwise, he's got this year and next year because they can't really cut him. But, like, bro, he is. Part of me, I feel bad because I think part of it is just the injuries. but like he's never really been good. Like, I know
Right.
there's like this whole like you led the league in passing. Yeah, that's nice. So did Jameis Winston. Like he's never been good. Like he's never been a guy you've ever been like he's an elite quarterback. Like it's like he's fine. He's Tua. He's fine. Sure, he's the 20th best quarterback in football.
I agree. And like I've been on this Dolphins thing for the better part of 3 years when this all started. I was like, yeah, well, they peaked with getting their asses kicked in Arrowhead in the wild card round. Like that's the ceiling on what this team can be. And we're seeing kind of the bottom fall out of it. I want to build on what you said about like the players not believing in McDaniel. Like, Minka Fitzpatrick being in Pittsburgh for a while, like I kind of, feel like I know how he operates. I can only imagine what a guy like him is thinking after that game. A guy like, James Daniels as well, like respected veterans around the league who are just having to look at this mess that they got traded into or signed on for. It's like, man, like this is, I can't imagine. Who else is on the staff that could really, do they have like any other former head coaches on that staff?
Now that I can think of Anthony Weaver, the DC there.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Maybe he gets it. They suck, man.
It's not
that
good.
Sucks.
It's not good. This is, I think, going to be one of the games of the 1 o'clock window and a litmus test for both teams involved. Jacksonville, Cincinnati. The Bengals are favored by 3.5. I'm looking forward to this. I think for both sides, Cincinnati, okay, you won the game last week, but you struggled a lot in the second half. Can you come out, look good offensively against a Jaguars team that doesn't have the best defense on paper? Can you go out and score some points? For Jacksonville, all right, you're 1-0. You beat up a bad Panthers team that you should have beaten up. That's good. Can you have kind of a statement win, start 2-0, and go into week 3 against Houston, like feeling pretty good about yourselves? This is one of the games of the 1 o'clock window I'm circling.
Yeah, I find this game really interesting. I'm with you. Look, first of all, I like Jacksonville to cover. I don't know if they win or not, but Cincinnati was terrible in week 1. Like, who watches football and who doesn't, by all these people out there who are like, Cincinnati got that job done in Cleveland. Bro, you watch the game. They were terrific.
If Andre Smith doesn't miss an extra point in a field goal,
football team, they win that game by 14 points. That game, not only did they beat it, they crushed them.
Yeah.
There was a sequence in that game where Burrow was sacked 3 consecutive plays.
Almost had a safety.
Yeah, was just hammered. Had no shot on any of the 3 plays. And one of them didn't include Garrett. Listen, I actually I don't know. I honestly, of all the games this week, it's probably the hardest game for me to pick straight up. I like Jacksonville to cover because Jacksonville wasn't exactly a house of fire against Carolina offensively either.
No.
So I don't know quite what to think there. And Zach Taylor and Liam Cohen, they know each other from the Rams or anything else. If I had to pick it, man, I actually think I would take Jacksonville in the game. I'm
going to take Jacksonville as well. And a lot of it too has to do with I can't remember who put it out, but they made a really good point. They put out some of the run stuff that the Bengals do, and it's just so predictable where they're just going to line up, they're going to run duo, and it's coming, they know it's coming. It's just so easy to stop. They don't really have a lot of flair when it comes to the run game to help the pass game, and I think that's going to continue to be somewhat of a disservice to them, even with Burrow and Chase and Higgins. They're going to get theirs. They're going to have some big games this year, obviously, but I don't know, man. I think Zach Taylor, we know what he is, and I just don't know if they're going to be able to get back to a Super Bowl, win playoff games deep into January with him as the guy. So I think this is more of me saying, I'm just kind of out on Zach Taylor than it is just being out on the Bengals stars, because we know how good they are. I just don't buy their coach. I just don't buy the defense. That too, yeah. I mean, Taylor's whatever. But the defense, man, it's just. I wouldn't be surprised if Lawrence threw 350 yards in this game. They just can't cover anybody. I think Jacksonville is going to win. I think Jacksonville's better than them. And I don't love Jacksonville, but I think they're better. Mm-hmm. Roster-wise, I think 1-53, you can make the argument. Bengals are more top-heavy. We'll see what comes into play more. The Steelers and the Seahawks. Steelers are 3-point favorites in their home opener. Obviously, the offense, the pass game, at least last week, had a nice day. I thought Arthur Smith did a really good job with the play calling, blended things that Rodgers likes to do with stuff that he likes to do. I thought, it came together pretty well. Running wise, they were dreadful. Run defense wise, they were bad. Seattle, I think in terms of their offensive personnel, not as good as the Jets. It really showcased against the 49ers where the passing game was, all right, we're just going to feed Jackson Smith and Jigba and hope that works. I think he's the only receiver who caught a pass. Maybe Cooper Kupp caught one or two, but they just don't have any sort of like weapons that scare you outside of Smith and Jigba.
No.
Running wise with Zach Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker, like they're fine, but talent wise, the Steelers should win this.
I think they will win it. I don't want to cover. Look, I'll just say it because I've been thinking it all. So I don't think Darnold's going to be any good without O'Connell. I just don't. I think there's a massive amount of evidence that Sam Darnold's just not that good. I think Pittsburgh wins. I think the Steelers. I don't think it's a blowout, but I think it's like 23-17.
Yeah,
kind of ho-hum. Like a game like the Steelers are never like fully like, oh my God, they're up 30, but like you just never feel like they're gonna lose. Yeah, give me Pittsburgh to win to cover the game.
Yeah, I would agree. And if they can get even some sort of a semblance of a run game, which compared to what they did last week, they averaged less than 3 yards per carry. It's not going to be a high bar. I do worry a little bit about the Seahawks front because Tank Lawrence, Leonard Williams, like those are, formidable players that I worry about when it comes to like, okay, can Broderick Jones keep Rodgers clean? He struggled last week against Will McDonald. I think if the Seahawks have a fighter's chance, it will come from the pass rush just getting to Rodgers all day.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably the path, but I don't think offensively they can do enough to win that game.
All right. This one in the 4:00 window, this will be the TV game. Colts Broncos in Indy. Bo Nix looked like a 10-pack of ass and hole against the Titans. And Daniel Jones, and we know it's Daniel Jones, and it was against the Dolphins defense. Had a respectable game. I don't know, man. I want to pick the Colts here. Last week, you and I, like you talked me into the Colts and it worked. I kind of want to pick them here, and I think I might.
Oh, I am going to pick them. I think they're going to win the game. Look, and not because I'm that overwhelmed by what they did to Miami, because Miami is atrocious.
They're not good. More
because I watched Bo Nix look like he belongs in college for an 8th season. He was the worst quarterback of the week, along with like Tua.
Don't tell Broncos fans that, though, because then they'll just say that you don't watch games you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's nice. Well, I got news from him. I did watch the game, and he stinks.
Yeah.
Or at least stunk, I should say, in that game. He was awful. Okay, and Broncos fans, I've had Broncos fans screaming at me for 10 years. Case Keenum's the guy. Trevor Simeon's the guy. Joe Flacco's the guy. Paxton Lynch is the guy.
Good shouts.
No offense to all the Broncos fans out there. Miss me with that. It's been a decade since they've mattered at all. And watching that game, but they better hope that defense stays that good because they can't score a point. And I think Anarumo is going to have Knicks in hell in that game. So
that's another big thing too. Is Anarumo going up against Knicks is a vast difference than the Titans defense going against Bo Nix, where Anarumo, even if they don't have the greatest personnel in the secondary, I think the things that he's going to throw at Nix is going to be far more intricate than he saw against Tennessee and could lead to some potential turnovers for the Colts. And if Indy can capitalize on that, then I very much look forward. We're going to be talking about the Colts being 2-0, and people are going to get way too crazy about this. But I would love nothing more if the Colts win this game, just because of just everything that we've had to listen to from Broncos fans for the last calendar year.
Yeah, I mean, listen, call me when Knicks looks like he can play football against a good team. Because
I agree.
That is yet to happen. Yeah,
I 100% agree. Before we continue, let's pause here. We'll get a quick word from this video sponsor, and then we'll continue with the rest of the 4:00 games. This episode is brought to you by Hello Tickets. Guys, none of us love the leader in tickets right now. We all know the app that I'm talking about. But if you head over to hellotickets.com, you can find cheaper tickets than what Ticketmaster is offering. For example, if you want to go to the Steelers home opener, if you're a Steelers fan like me, the seats that you would buy at Hello Tickets are almost $30 cheaper than what you would pay over on Ticketmaster. The link in the description will get you started. Head over to hellotickets.com today. All right, welcome back to the Pump Fake. Continuing going through every game on the week 2 schedule. Panthers Cardinals in Arizona. Cardinals are 6.5-point favorites. I just don't care about Carolina, and I don't think the Cardinals are good either. I think the Cardinals win, but they're one of those teams that just can't put away teams. We saw that last week against New Orleans. Cardinals win, Panthers cover.
Yeah, I went back and forth on who covers. I took the Cardinals, but I don't feel great about it.
No.
I do think the Cardinals are going to win the game, but like that Saints game to me is alarming in the sense you gave up 5 sacks to a Saints team that is terrible, and you've got like one of the more mobile quarterbacks in the league, and he still was sacked 5 times. Also, like 8 people are going to watch this game. Give me the Cardinals to get to 2-0.
If this is the Fox game, this is the old the Chris Myers, Mark Schlereth commentator team where it's like Fox's 9th duo. We're like, all right, just go to Arizona, have fun.
They're picking like 2 people out of the stands.
Yeah, pretty much. All right. Your Chiefs hosting the Philadelphia Eagles. We talked about this a little bit on your show, so some of this might be a little bit repetitive, but that's all right. I'm going to pick the Chiefs. I just don't see them starting 0-2. The Eagles are the better team roster-wise. But yeah, I just think that the Chiefs are just going to be like, yeah, we're not going to lose.
I think they're. I think Philadelphia's going to win the game. Look, now Goddard doesn't look like he's going to play.
Yeah.
Which I think is a bigger loss than people realize in the sense that if there's one way to just beat the Chiefs, it's just to throw at their linebackers, and that's who you would throw at their linebackers with because Grant Calcaterra is not scaring the hell out of anybody.
No.
But look, I think it's a coin flip of a game in the sense like there is absolutely a world the Chiefs just come out and they're like, look, we cannot lose this game, and we have one of those Mahomesian 360-yard performances.
You know what? I hope we do see that. We haven't seen one of those in a minute, and I would kind of be okay with Mahomes just going scorched earth again because I would enjoy that.
The one thing I get annoyed with people though is like people have this thing with the Chiefs. They're like, it's Mahomes and the rest of the team. Like when they're healthy, they've got guys all over the field, but they don't have Worthy, they don't have Rice.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I took Smith and Brown off the Eagles, how's that offense looking?
Yeah,
like if I took Chase and Higgins off the Bengals, what do they look like? I mean, at some point, it's like, well, yeah. I mean, of course, they're going to have some issues. Like they're missing the 2 best guys. Worthy actually ended up practicing this week.
That's exciting.
He's not probably going to play. He might be back next week, and certainly for the Ravens in week 4. So if you're the Chiefs, you're happy about that. Kelsey damn near killed him, but here we are. Look, I think it's a coin flip. The Eagles are favored by 1.5. I'll take Philly to win the game. I do not think it's going to look like the Super Bowl. I think that was one of those 1 in 100 where like the Eagles played their absolute apex game and the Chiefs couldn't have been any worse. If the Chiefs run the ball well in the game, I think they'll win. I just have no anticipation that Andy Reid's actually going to run the football. So I will take Philly, and I will take everybody to freak out about the Chiefs, and then they'll finish like 12-5.
As they usually do. Minnesota, Atlanta, the Sunday night game. Obviously, J.J. McCarthy had a big Monday night game. I saw Dan Hans was talking about this on Heed the Call, and it does feel like a decent argument. Like, all right, they put the Vikings in primetime week 1. They put them in primetime week 2. They have a standalone game in Ireland week 4. Like, it feels like the NFL really wants J.J. McCarthy to be good.
Well, depends on what part of the Bears game you're looking at. They're either not going to get their wish or they're really going to get their wish.
Yeah.
That line was 5.5.
It's gone down to 3.5 then?
Yeah.
2.5?
Yeah.
Is that 3?
I took it at 5.5 to Atlanta to cover. I think Minnesota's going to win.
Mm-hmm.
I'll even take Atlanta to cover now. I think it's like 24-21, something like that, 23-20. I think Minnesota, one thing about it, man, like Flores against Penix, that might be a problem. And that's nothing against Michael Penix Jr. Like I think he's looked very capable at this point, but like that's kind of like when you get like Fangio or Spags or like back in the day, like Dick LeBeau for the first time, and you're like, oh my God, what is happening? It's a lot to deal with. Yeah. It's just a lot to deal with. So give me the Vikings to win. I think the Falcons keep it interesting, but I don't think they win the game.
I might actually go Atlanta here just because like Penix, like I saw a stat, like in 3 of his 4 games, he's led a drive to put them ahead late in the game, and then the defense just kind of blows it. So maybe I'm talking myself out of it as I say that. Yeah, you know what? I'll take Minnesota. I think it'll be close. I think Penix will play well, as he's tended to do in his small handful of starts. But John Robinson had a really good game week 1 against Tampa. Outside of like London and Bijan, though, they just don't have a lot of explosiveness in that offense. Like they're really leaning on just 2 guys to do a lot of that heavy lifting. So yeah, I'll take Minnesota. I think that the fireworks might just be there a little bit more for them offensively, and defensively we know what Flores is going to throw at them. So yeah, I'll switch over and I will also take Minnesota there. A Monday night doubleheader, the dumbest thing that the NFL does, by the way. I hate Monday night doubleheaders and sending players to about 8 different countries for a 2-month span.
Yes.
Fuck all of that. And it's only because like the following Tuesday, like Schefter will tweet something. I'm like, this is the highest rating doubleheader in the history of ESPN's, but we don't give a fuck. I could not care less. But the first game, Tampa Bay at Houston, I rewatched a lot of Rams Texans this morning. And my biggest takeaway is, can we get CJ Stroud some like big grass fed Republicans up front to protect him? Like just for the rest of the year, send all of your scouts to Nebraska, Wisconsin, Iowa, and find a couple guards that look like Roseanne Barr to put in front of him, because my God, he was running for his life constantly against the Rams.
I think Tampa is going to win this game. Houston just can't block.
Yeah.
And to your point, and I know that's not like high-level analysis. They can't block. They cannot block. They couldn't block last year. I've said this before, maybe even on your show. Like, I covered that Chiefs-Texans playoff game last year for Sports Illustrated.
Yeah.
The Chiefs sacked him 8 times in that game. If you go back and watch the tape, honest to God, they could have sacked him 15 times. They were within a whisker of sacking him like 15 times in that game. And it just there does come a point where, like, look, you can do all the things you want schematically. You got to just be able to block a guy. Like, you've got to just be able to one-on-one, just be able to block. We saw that in the Packers-Commanders game. Like, at some point, you do all you want to do, but like, they're eventually going to be able to scheme some stuff up too on defense. Like, you have to be able to block somebody. I just think the Buccaneers get home. I think Mayfield will play well. Look, the Texans have a terrific defense.
Sure.
So I would take the under in this game. I think it's a low-scoring game. I think the Bucs win like, I don't know, like I think it's close. I think it's 19-17, something like that.
Yeah, it's an ugly. I mean, the game against the Rams was ugly in terms of just like not a lot of scoring. So I could see it being a very similar thing here. And yeah, I mean, I'm gonna echo a lot of what you just said. It's just like Stroud's great, but they don't have a lot around him either. Offensive line's bad, and then it's Nico Collins and just a bunch of like Will C's with Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel, who could end up being good. But right now, there's just not a lot of proven talent. And if you can't protect him, by the way, if they lose, I mean, they're 0-2 going into a week 3 game against the Jaguars. If the Jaguars beat Cincinnati, that game could be for the division in week 3.
It could be. That's a fair point. It really could be. Yeah.
Chargers, Raiders. The Raiders are 3-point favorites at home. I'm sorry, they're 3-point dogs at home. I will take the Chargers here. It was a weird game against New England where I think we talked about it a little bit, where New England just did a lot of like shooting themselves in the foot more so than I thought the Raiders won it. And Gino made, a few throws in the game. But the Chargers coming off that game against the Chiefs, a mini bye week in between it as well. I'll take the Chargers to win and start off 2-0.
I think the Raiders are going to win.
Oh, okay.
I don't even love the Raiders as a team. I think they're going to be like a 7 or 8 win team, but I think Carroll and Gino, like, they raised the floor of that team. The team's not just going to roll over and get beat because it just beats itself. They're not going to have Antonio Pierce punting from the other team's 40-yard line on 4th and 2. Like, I'll take the Raiders. I think it's a good game. I think it's tight. I'll at least take them to cover, but I think they'll win. I'll pick them outright at home. If it was in LA, I'd pick LA, but I'll take the Raiders at home.
All right. Is there any like player in particular this week that you're kind of looking forward to? Is there like a game that you would circle outside of Chiefs Eagles, but like out of the ones we've talked about, is there one where you're like, all right, this is the one I'm kind of most interested in?
What's going through my head? The Lions and Bears. Because whoever loses is 0-2 with 2 divisional losses.
Yeah.
And that feels like a problem. And I got to tell you, I think if it's the Bears who lose that game, you just kind of start to wonder, like the Lions to me are kind of like the Chiefs in a sense. I think even at 0-2, like, I'd still be like, look, I still think this team's going to figure it out. Although the Chiefs don't have the coach of people that the Lions do, but you get the point. The Bears lose this game, like, you just wonder, do the wheels start coming off a little bit?
Yeah. Let me actually pull up what their next few games are.
They played Dallas. I just did. They played Dallas at home week 3, which, okay, they could lose if they could definitely win. Then they're at the Raiders, at the Commanders, home against the Saints, at the Ravens, at the Bengals.
That's that 2-game stretch
They
right
can
there.
make
That's going to be
27.
brutal. Yeah.
Like that is, you gotta get some confidence going. And I just worry if they lose that game, do the wheels just start to because it's funny. I saw the Bears OTAs and I saw them at training camp. I said to a few people watching Ben Johnson in those practices, so they better be good early because he's being a real hard ass with a lot of these guys. And I got to tell you, it's one thing if Belichick's doing it, Tomlin's doing it, McVay's doing it, Andy's doing it. You got rings. You can sit there and go, "Hey man, I know how to win. Listen to me." Ben Johnson's never won anything.
Yeah.
And you're going to have guys on that team like Joe Tooney who've won 4 Super Bowls who are like, "Listen, I need to listen to this crap."
Yeah.
You're going to have guys looking at Caleb Williams going, "Okay, well, you're supposed to lead us. You're the #1 overall pick. What's up, man? Can we I just think the Bears, they need a win. They need a win. And if they don't win this game, that game against Dallas is going to feel like Armageddon. So I will say that's the game I'm most intrigued by outside of the Chiefs and the Eagles.
I do think there is a world, though, where they lose. But if it's like a 34-30 game, the offense looks competent, Caleb comes out just guns blazing, and they just fall short. I do think there's a world where, they're 0-2, but it's like, all right, there could be something here. If we beat Dallas 1-2, maybe that gets the wheels going a little bit. If, however, the offense struggles and it's like a 27-13 just beat down, then yeah, I would agree where people are already going to be like, oh, well, there goes the season 0-2. And the offense is just stuck in the mud for the last 7 quarters.
Right. Yeah. No, I hear you. It's fair. I mean, Williams has got to play well. If they go into this game and lose, and he's at some point in this game, 10 of 20 for 80 yards, it's a problem.
Yes, definitely. But all right, that gets us through week 2. What do you have coming on Sports Illustrated for everybody to read?
Next week, I'll have my first installment of quarterback rankings, which I'll do monthly. I have a column up right now on the Packers game. I also have a preview file on the 5 games I'm watching this week closely. So you can check that out on si.com, my Twitter feed. There'd be plenty as time rolls. I think I'm also covering the Bucks Texans game for us. So
there you go.
Plenty to read.
Are you going there?
No, okay.
No,
Thank God, no. I just was in Green Bay. I'm all set. I've covered my game in person for the week.
Okay, well, there you go. All right, everybody. If you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe to the channel. If you're listening in the Believe in Steelers podcast feed, be sure to leave a comment, leave a review, do all that fun stuff. We'll be back later on today with the Steelers Seahawks preview on the podcast feed. So appreciate everybody for tuning in as always, and we will be back on Monday to recap the Sunday slate and preview Monday Night Football. So talk to you then. Have a good one.